Hello, everyone, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. This week, we are live on both High Vibe TV and YouTube. We had a little bit of a hiccup last week, but we are back to our scheduled programming. I hope that you've, oh my goodness, it's Monday. It's Monday. I hope that you have all had an incredible week. I hope the weekend was good for you. It was pretty wild energy wise, but I hope you're all coming out of it and in an amazing place. If you didn't happen to catch Anne and I live on Gemini Rising, we did that early this morning. And for me, who's not a morning person, it was a struggle getting up. But can I tell you, the conversation with our guest, Abby Wynn, was freaking amazing. Amazing. So if you are not subscribed to my Natalie Sadie YouTube channel, head to that, go to the live section. That's where all the episodes of Gemini Rising are. And make sure you check out our latest conversation with Abby Wynn. It was so great. I hope we get to speak to her again at some point later on down the line. And we've got Kelly in the chat on YouTube, and she was there for Abby earlier today. So I hope that you enjoyed it, Kelly. And welcome to everyone in the chat on High Vibe. I always love having people in the chat. So let's get going. I have 4 decks with me today for today's reading. And as always, I'm starting with the Ascending Life Oracle, MahrukhX's decks. Oh, I love this woman's cards. All right. Woman, female friend enters your life, female romantic interest. A woman will assist you. Woman plays a key role. So I love this. I love this card because to me it highlights sort of the friendship between women. And listen, if you're a guy and you have possibly a new woman coming into your life, I think that's so exciting. But for all of the women that are watching, I feel like this is about tapping into your female circle of friends. I used to watch shows like Friends. I used to watch shows like Sex and the City. And the thing that I loved about those shows was the friendships that existed within those shows. And I had great friendships, but they were all sort of individual. And as I've gotten older, I've managed to manifest the most incredible circle of friends around me, female friends that are my biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleaders, and everything in between. And I never used to trust women. And some people might think that that is a terrible thing to say, but I didn't. From experiences I had when I was a child, I felt that women were conniving and backstabbing and just not truthful. And I've discovered that that is not who women are at all. Some can be, but when you find the right circle of women, they will be the most incredible force you could ever possibly have in your life. So I feel like this is a week to tap into those energies and those friendships. And maybe there's somebody new coming into your life as a friendship or as a circle. And let me tell you, I loved having all of my really strong, beautiful individual friends that were all in sort of different parts of my life. But the circle that I'm in now, it started with me taking a chance by going to an event on my own, which was freaking terrifying. I paid a lot of money for the ticket because I thought that that could be where I might find my people. This was when the world was shut down and I needed to find someone or a group of people that would sort of support me or that thought the same way I did. And I went to this event and there was one woman that I met, and that woman changed my life. And I tell her every day when I speak to her, and it's because of her that I have the most incredible circle of friends. So just know that if your circle is changing or if there are people that are sort of exiting and this new woman walks in, she could shift everything. in the best possible way. So just be open to that energy coming in. Dice, time to take risks, getting out of your comfort zone, leap into the unknown, adventure awaits. I love that this card came out when I talk about going to that event on my own. When I pulled up at that event, I was driving a little Toyota Corolla, and when I pulled up, everybody else was in Mercedes, BMWs, Bentleys, Rolls Royce, all of that. And I felt like such an imposter. And then I had to walk into that event without a single person that I knew there to sort of just chat to me or feel that awkwardness. And it was the best night I'd had in the longest time. And as I've already explained, it led to incredible things. So if there is a risk that you're thinking of taking, do it. And listen, even if it doesn't work out, when I spent the money and I went to this event, my logic was this: I would get to hear an incredible person speaking because there was a guest speaker that night. And that in itself would be incredible. So worst case scenario, I go to this event, I go in, I listen to this great person, and I leave, and that's the end of it. Really? Is that such a terrible night? Absolutely not. Best case scenario, I find my tribe. Well, lucky for me, I took the risk and I found my tribe. So I feel like it's a sign. Take the risk, roll the dice, do what you need to do to see what you can shift at the moment. We all know that the astrology for this rest of this year is just going to continue building and becoming more and more wild. And I know for some people that's a little bit scary, but now, while there's sort of lulls in it and while we have the opportunity to sort of take control of what's going on around us, take the risks, see what you can shift so that when everything's crazy and all over the place, you've got yourself in a better position because you took the risks early, and it makes it easier to ride the roller coaster. Sadness, disappointment, regret, depression, unwelcome change. I feel like this sadness is coming from things slipping away in our lives, just whether it be friends or, sometimes work shifts a little bit, but feel the emotions. You always have to feel things and work through them to get to the other side, and so that you're not hanging on to things. But at the same time, it's fine. You can feel the sadness, but it doesn't mean those things are meant to stay in your life. And if feelings of regret are coming up over things, again, ask yourself why you regret that decision. Is it you're regretting something you said? Is it something that you did, or maybe something that you didn't do? And you can't go back in time and change it, but what you can do is do better moving forward. So if the same situation faces you again, you can react better. And if the regret is enough and it's, a matter of being able to apologize to that person, maybe that's what you do. That can always be really difficult, to reach out to someone and say, hey, I was wrong, or I regret this. But it can sometimes be an incredibly healing thing, not only for yourself, but for the other person. And maybe that leads to forgiveness and you're able to move forward. Just with everything that comes, feel it, don't get lost in it, and always try and find a silver lining in everything. And I know that's always easier said than done, but if you can do that, it's a great way to take charge of your own life. All right, let's do a couple more. Love offer. I feel like this card came out in the last couple of weeks. Being asked out on a date, love to the next level, positive new love coming in, a job offer you'd love. So maybe with taking the risk, it's a new job that you've got coming in. If you're being asked out on a date, Say yes. Even if they're not your person, go out and have a fantastic night. You might have some great conversation and a good time. Maybe you will meet the love of your life, or maybe it'll be a terrible date and a great story, but you're signaling to the universe that you're open to what is being offered. And if you're in a really good, healthy relationship, maybe this is a time where it is being taken to the next level, whatever that is for you, depending on where you are in your relationship. But as I say, each time love comes up in these readings, do not switch off to it. Just keep your heart open. You can protect yourself and keep your heart open at the same time. Ghosting, sudden disappearing act, cutting off all communication, feeling rejected, dealing with lack of closure. I feel like these two come in together, and I don't necessarily feel like it's related to the love offer. It could, obviously, because ghosting is such a big thing at the moment. But dealing with lack of closure, I feel like that's where the sadness and the ghosting come in together. I talked when the sadness card came up that if you have the opportunity to call someone and say, hey, I'm so sorry, I regret doing this, or saying that, or whatever the action was, maybe you can fix that for someone else. And if you're the one on the receiving end of it, you have to find a way to feel that emotion, but be able to let it go and release it. So find a way that works for you. Often when I meditate, I do a cord cutting meditation every single time at the beginning before I get into the deeper work, because I don't want anybody else attached to the work that I'm doing for me. And sometimes by cutting those cords, I'm able to release that sadness. And when you release the need for closure, when you release, I need closure, I need this, you may not get that. And I understand the frustration, because I have that in my own life with certain instances. But sometimes when you release that and you're able to move on in your life, and I don't mean saying that you've released it, but actually cutting the cords and letting it go to the universe and being okay without getting that closure, sometimes later on, out of nowhere, you will get the closure that you once yearned for. So again, this is the human part of our existence, and learning how to deal with that in a way that you can move forward and not let these things anchor you in place or hold you back. So, and I feel like this card came up last week. Teamwork, partnership to complete a goal. Someone will come to your aid, expanding your network, delegating tasks. See, I feel like this one, the teamwork and the woman, come hand in hand this week. Let these new people come into your life, and so, yeah, let these people come into your life, expand your network, and if you need help to finish something off, that's okay. Ask for help. I have always been better working on my own, and can I tell you, I look forward to every single Gemini Rising episode, and Anne and I speak most days. Yesterday we were going backwards and forwards. It was like we had our own book club going on, because we were reading one of Abby's books, and so we're messaging each other, have you read this part yet? Have you read that part yet? And collaborating with her is so wonderful, because I get to see things from a completely different perspective. And I think I do the same for her. We're both bringing different guests to the table. And so we're expanding our networks in all these weird and wonderful ways that I never would have thought possible. And I'm so grateful for every single day. So don't be afraid of teamwork. Just find the right person to move forward with. Okay, I'm going to pull one more of these. Higher power, choosing your highest good, aligning with your higher self, connected to spirit, on the path of the divine, not off. So it's time to tap into the higher power. It's time to connect to the universe, do the light work. And if you watched today's Gemini Rising episode, to me, this card is absolutely perfect for everything that we were talking about. Where everyone that is on high vibe, everyone that is sort of watching this show, you're a light worker. And we might all be at different levels, but it's time to tune into that and really keep moving forward. And when you are tuned in, oh, sorry, I'm dropping cards over here. Taking the risk, rolling the dice is so much easier. Working through sadness becomes so much easier. Doesn't make it easy, but it makes it easier because you understand that there is a divine purpose to everything that's happening in your life. You're able to, I guess, just wrap your head around what is going on. And for me anyway, it makes it easier to deal with the very humanness of what it is we're experiencing. So I've got the Rose Oracle, which is Rebecca Campbell, and release the petals, transformation, death and rebirth, shedding all change. So if that's not a confirmation of what I was saying, this is a time of release. It's time of surrender to the universe, tapping into the higher power. And when we do tap in and we're on our path and we're doing the light work, I feel like it's impossible to not change and not shift. And so sometimes we're releasing people from our lives. The part that they were meant to play is just done. And I get it. It's awful. It sucks when there are certain people that we love so much and they're not as present in our day-to-day lives, or that chapter with them is over. But we have to focus on the great memories we made with them, the lessons they taught us, and release them with love to move on their path while we move on ours. It just means that we have different places that we're meant to be. Okay. I knew this was the deck I needed to use, but man, the cards are just jumping out. So we've got Temple of the Rose, Ancient Power, Expression, Activation, Scarlet Codes. I feel like it's a week. It's a week where everything's getting activated. We're all tapping in. And the beautiful thing is when we raise our vibration all at the same time, the entire world shifts. It's why they talk about, or groups have talked about, wanting school children to all meditate and the power of that. It's why people organize mass meditations. So it just feels like it's that moment in time where we're all meant to be focused on it. And then we've got the Sophia card, divine plan, wisdom, intelligence. Sorry, let me say this again. Divine plan, wisdom, intelligence within, and destiny. So it's a fated week. All of this stuff that we're doing is getting us to exactly where our souls are meant to be. And you have to trust it. I'm going to, Veltopia is, he's saying, I have to come back and listen, dentist here. If you're at the dentist, good luck to you. I hate the dentist. I'm sure it'll be fine, but all right, I'm going to pull one more of these before we move on. So fun fact, the Rose Oracle was the first Oracle deck I ever bought. Okay. I saw the artwork and I just loved them. All right. Codes of the seeds. The blueprint is within you. Take the next step. So again, this is what you were put on this earth to do. All of this growth, everything that you've been through, is what you were meant to go through. It was part of your destiny. It was part of your soul's growth. And now it's time to take the next step, just like a seed being born. So trust what's happening, lean into it as opposed to trying to run away from it. Couldn't help myself. I had to pull out the shadow deck, another Mahrukh deck, and we'll pull one or two of these, and then we'll finish with our beautiful unicorns. Okay. Blame a shadow. Blame others for their mistakes, unaccountable, me against the world. And then the flip side of that is fight the urge to blame others for your situation, thinking about what you could learn if you accept responsibility. So I talk about this so frequently, that you are in control of your life. You can't control what anybody else is doing, but you have control over how you react to a situation. And your reaction can completely shift the energy of that situation, and change the outcome. So here's the thing. I once had a huge argument with my therapist at the time about whether or not I was responsible for everything that happened in my life. And I screamed at her because I was like, you are wrong. And I started listing some of the awful things that had happened to me. And I said, and you think I wanted this and you think I wanted that. And after I'd calmed down, about a week later, she explained what she meant. And she said, I'm not saying you wanted consciously all of these things to happen to you, but that is all that you felt you were worth at a subconscious level. And the work we were doing was working at a very deep level as to figuring out why that was what my subconscious thought, so we could shift everything and stop these patterns from repeating, because so often people in life have these patterns that just, continually play out, maybe with different people, but they continually play out. And if you look at people in abusive relationships, that's one of the cycles that will always just continually play out unless they get really strong and really do some hard work. And when I understood that and I did the work, my entire life shifted. And this is why I get irritated whenever I see people blaming other people. Because the moment you take responsibility for everything that is happening in your life, no matter how good or bad it may be, you take your power back. Because if you're responsible for the things that happen in your life, you can change what's happening in your life. All right, I'm going to pull one more of these and then we'll go to our unicorns. Aimless shadow, no ambition or clear direction in life, purposeless, lost, unguided, wasting time. And then the flip side of that is finding your target, shoot and purge yourself of all the aimless distractions. Don't live a life in darkness. So if you have been procrastinating, if you don't know what to do and you're just sitting there going, I'll figure it out at some point. This is a week. This is a week to figure it out. It's time to roll the dice and get moving. And it doesn't mean you need to achieve everything this week, but you need to figure out where it is you're going, figure out the steps of what you need to do to get there, and just get moving. Hi, Tamara. I'm just about to finish. I am pulling the last card. Okay, it would help if I can actually shuffle these. Okay, so the unicorn portal, focus your light, listen for a message. So, to me, if you're not sure about where to go or what's happening, and if the whole aimless shadow card is resonating with you, take a moment to be still, meditate if that's something you do, or whatever it is that is meditation for you. Sometimes it's as easy as just being in the shower and having that water running over your body. So it's cleansing you with the movement of the water. And then that's often where our brains finally go still. It's why we have so many brilliant thoughts and ideas while we're in the shower. Listen for the message that will come through and help you move through the rest of this week. I hope that reading resonated with some of you or all of you. As I always say, keep what resonates, release everything that doesn't. That's not for you. As I said at the beginning of the show, today's episode of Gemini Rising really was fantastic. So make sure you go and check that out with Abby Wynn. It was so much fun. And as someone who's not a morning person, I was so glad I got myself out of bed early for that one. That's on the Natalie Sadie YouTube channel. And as always, Anne, thank you so much for everything you do for me.